Welcome to the squad. It's Icewater and Puma. And do us a solid, like, comment, subscribe, and share our episodes on YouTube channel Chocolate 108.1 WYDL. Watch all our shows on that. We have sports shows. We have the one. We have all types of shows on this particular channel. So tune in and tell us what you think. We're going to start with the NBA, the playoffs, man. My Knicks are down 0-2 to the Indiana Pacers. I haven't seen any videos of my New Yorkers bragging and them chiming in on this. One of the things that I noticed in this series is that it's inexcusable to give up a 17-point lead. And I was talking to Pop about this yesterday about the Knicks because we were talking about it. And the second game, Tibbs is being outcoached. Let's just flat out say it. Tibbs is being outcoached. He doesn't know when to put players in. He doesn't know when to take them out. He's using Brunson. Overload. Brunson can't be the point person every play because they're double teaming him. They're making it hard for him. They're making him work a lot. But he's just being outcoached at this particular time. I said last week that Obi Toppin will be the X factor, and he is. You can't play Robinson in the third or fourth quarter. They're going to foul him. He can't shoot free throws. I never understood why they didn't trade him and kept Obi Toppin, but here we are, 0-2. And Halliburton has been playing out of his mind. He hit the last second shot to tie, and they took over game one. He is one of those point guards that's underrated. I remember him in the Olympics, Ice, and he didn't get any playing time. And maybe that drove him to be one of the best point guards in the league at this particular time. It just seems like Indiana, their coaching staff is outmatching the Knicks coaching staff. And I heard that they're going to make the Knicks that is, they're going to make some changes tonight as far as putting Jay Hart on the bench and bringing somebody else off the bench. And if you don't have that trust in your bench and your Tibbs, I don't know what you've been doing all season. Your thoughts, man?
This is tough though because from the standpoint of the Knicks have been riding this wave of Jalen Brunson and then of course Towns for a while, and now what we're finding out in this particular series, particularly after these first two games versus the Pacers, it's not working. They've been riding it. They beat okay, you beat Boston, great, but it's not working. So the standpoint of you think about it in the first game that Brunson in the what was it, an overtime loss? Brunson at 43.
Yeah.
Big Cat at 35. They lost. Second game, come back around. Brunson has 36. They lose. Yeah, they're going to have to make some changes because whatever they were doing before in this series is not working. So you can stay the same way with the same approach. You keep using the same approach, or you got to make some changes. I think the one thing, as you mentioned early on about Halliburton playing real well, my goodness, what can you say about Siakam? Drops
Yeah.
39 to make sure that they have what they need.
Yes.
And the Pacers, they have nothing to lose. They're playing like that too. We beat Cleveland. Nobody thought we could beat them. Now we face the Knicks. No one thinks we can win this series either. So I don't know if Rick Carlisle is using that as a motivation, but what we're seeing is they have no fear. I think after I think it was the second game, Indiana, they talked to Halliburton in an interview, and they asked him what's been the motivation. And you mentioned earlier about the lead, they were down, right? And after the first half of one of the games, and he goes, man, we played horrible in this first half where we didn't do anything. We had all these turnovers, things weren't going right, we're missing shots. And he said they were in the locker room like, we made all these mistakes, probably played one of our worst halves of the season, and we're only down 3 points. And he goes, man, we just said, hell, if we just do a little bit better, we got a chance to win. And they did. So I think they have nothing to lose. They're playing like they are the underdogs. They're not afraid, and they're just playing basketball. So I think that's the part of the chemistry we always talked about before. If you're a team that may not be as good as this team on paper, or you seem as underdogs, sometimes that dog, that chemistry, that fight, the ability to make plays and believing in one another as a cohesive unit can take you over the top. And I think that's what they've done so far jump up to the two league.
One of the things I know you know my mentality because we watch playoff basketball since we were knee high to whatever. But my mentality in the first game, if I see you getting hot from the three, you got two times to shoot a three. The third time you attempt it, you hit the ground. I'm taking you out your rhythm. That's old playoff basketball. I'll take the flagrant, whatever. I'll put somebody in there, bring Tucker off the bench, hard foul, get you out your rhythm. So you're not beating us with the three, or your rhythm's going to be off. Or I'm going to put a hurting on you. I did not understand with Coach Tibbs why you don't do that when you see this guy and they're going to him constantly with the 3 pointers. I think he hit like 8 of 9 in that particular game. How
Mm-hmm.
you not put this guy on the ground? I don't understand it. So maybe I'm just old school. Maybe I'm getting to that age where the young folks like, oh, granddad, whatever. But if you hit that second one, okay, he's getting hot. He got to hit the pavement. He had to get the ground. That's the way we used to play ball. Your thoughts on that, man?
No, I think you're right, but I do think I will say, Granddad, that this is you do have old school because I mean I understand what you're saying, and that's how we grew up. I'm with you. We had to make it uncomfortable. We got to make him prove to us that he can handle physicality, right?
Yes.
So we're not going to just let you shoot open jumpers. But I think the way that basketball in the NBA is now, the fact is, the way that they play, a lot of teams don't play defense.
Yeah. The game when you got the big man, the biggest man on the court, down in the paint all by himself, like on a few occasions with the Knicks. How do you not get that guy guarded? How do you not play his own? I don't get it. So that's why I said in my initial statement, Coach Tibbs is getting out coached. He's getting out coached. He's standing there sweating, trying to figure out what to do. And you're getting out coached, and your matchups are not matching up. You're playing guys a little bit too much. Robinson, I get it. He's a great rebounder, great defender, but you got to bring somebody else off the bench. You know it's a deficit when they foul him. He's not going to get a 3-point play. What are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I think, like you said, though, since they're not playing defense, see, I think back then too, back in the day, we sound old now, but back in our day, but I mean, seriously, it was a matter of pride as well, right? You're like, I'm not gonna let that dude get that off, and you sitting there watching guys and shoot or whatever, and it was a matter of pride. That's why you heard before about the Jordan rules. When Jordan did what he had to do in order to overcome playing against like with the Pistons, you had to earn that. You had to
Yeah,
get in the weight room. You had to whatever. But now it's like, oh, he hot. Let me try to get over it to him. And then two, the way that they've changed the rules about flagrant fouls, that anything you do is flagrant, depending on who the referee is. So you can't be out and then, or you're a bad player or you're a dirty player. So
yeah.
it goes different from a standpoint of, excuse me, from when it comes down to the flagrant. So I don't know. I think it's just the way that the game has changed. But yeah, Tim's gonna have to figure something out because what he said, what was working yesterday, not working today. So it's like yesterday's price is not today's price. So you're gonna have to make some changes because Indiana, they know, they watch, they play hard, and they say, hey, we have nothing to lose. And when a team feels as if they have nothing to lose, then they're gonna give you all that they have. And the question is, are you capable? And when we're talking about the Knicks, are you capable of standing up to the challenge and fighting back?
We're making the adjustments. There it is. OKC versus Minnesota. I couldn't believe the game last night. I mean, how do you beat the brakes off a team and then let them beat you by 40 or 30 or 40? I don't get that. And it just seems like during the press conference they were nonchalant, like, "Oh yeah, I've had worse games." No, this is the playoffs, bro. You got to fight for every game. And I saw Edwards, step it up. But okay, see, let me start off by saying this before I talk about the game. Congratulations to SGA. He won the MVP. It was well deserved. And for the seventh year in a row, we talked about this offline. Seventh year in a row, an international player wins the MVP, which says a lot. We can talk about it later. It says a lot about what American basketball coaches and AAUs and colleges are producing. is not as good as the products internationally now. They have caught up when they can be MVP for 7 years in a row. Your thoughts on the OKC Minnesota series?
I was talking to my brother the other day, and I mentioned to him. He said, "Well, how far you see this going? You think OKC will sweep them?" I said, "I did not think that they would sweep them because I think it's the Anthony Edwards factor, right? I think that he has. I said he has one, maybe two games where you, as a player, if you have the ability and to step up and be special in order for your team. And doesn't mean they're going to win, right? I still think OKC has shown that they have too much talent.
Right.
And the problem is Minnesota's talent, their players don't match that intensity every game. They don't match their opponent's intensity. So with that being said, it opens the door for Anthony Edwards to go, look, I think he has one or two games, maybe even three, where he just goes, it doesn't matter. I'm just taking over.
Right.
And you guys are with me. I think Brunson has done that, tried to do that for the Knicks. But in this situation where Minnesota rises up, Randall has been key. Some other guys had to step up. These type of players need other people to help. But in order to get them started or to keep them close, like Anthony Edwards, he has to be special. He has to be MVP, Hall of Fame special, which he's capable of. So I think that alone got him going. And OKC's, I wouldn't say their defense, but looking at it from their perspective, like you said, oh well, you gotta still come out and fight every game, like in game three. But they're like, look, dude, we up 2-1. I think they believe they are better than Minnesota on paper.
I think they
Like,
are. I really do.
yeah, and I think they believe that. So okay, we lost one game. So what? Watch what happens next game. And this is the contrast, comparing contrast, right? To see who wants it more, who's going to step up. The question is, I'll throw it out at you, is will Minnesota get the same effort from the supporting cast that they did in game three?
That is to be determined because I'm not sure. I can't rely on the big man in the middle. I
Mhm.
can't rely on Connolly. Connolly has old legs. Let's face it. I can't rely on a lot of. I can't rely on Randall. Randall was sometime with the New York Knicks. That's why he's not there. And so he was hot, and then all of a sudden, he's not. So it's to be determined with
Yeah.
that. Will everybody step up? Will Dante step up? Will all these folks step up when they need to? They're at home. Let's see if they can tie this up because that one game, it's just one game, can turn into two games. If you give a team momentum to feel like they can beat you and they got your number, it could turn into two games and tie this up. And now it's a series. Now it's a bona fide series. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with you. But I think OKC on the flip side is like, okay, y'all got one, but we think we're better. And Shea Gilgeous-Alexander steps up and leads us the way that he does. And then we start getting Dort and Williams, right, coming on. And we have not really seen them dominate.
No.
Yeah, I think there's a chance for Chet Holmgren is due for a big game too. So they feel like overall we're a better team. So
It
we
don't even
can
seem like OKC is using Chet at this particular point.
no, and I think it's because they've come together with familiarity where they're relying on guys that they think are clutch players right now in the moments.
Yeah.
And Chet's still learning. Chet is still learning, but I think what Chet's giving them is good production. But the best thing that they have, and I say with grace, I say for OKC in general, is the fact that even with SGA, you don't need to have one person dominate for them to be good regularly because they have a team. And I think that's a great thing for them. So granted, when SGA goes off, has a special moment or moments, and whoever else does it too, they have so much depth that it's like, look, if you do great, you show up with a great moment, outstanding. But you don't have to. Because we're good enough. And they're showing you that right now. I think again, last point on this, that them winning that's game 7 versus Denver did great things for them and to set them off to keep moving forward like they're doing now because that was a very difficult series for them. And now here they are with Minnesota. And it's like, is this harder than Denver? Some may say no. So if they're thinking that in their brains, oh, this ain't the Joker. The
Right.
Joker, we know what the Joker gonna do every night. So
Joker, Gordon, Murray,
yeah. So
Porter. Oh,
many. That was a you basically they had to defeat champions, right?
yeah, yeah.
No, even though Denver didn't win it last year, they still won it what twice, right? So you're fighting against a champion, and it's not the case right now for Minnesota. But
They won
again,
it
like you said,
twice or once. I'm trying to remember.
did I think it was twice? Well, I think it's twice. I don't know, but I thought.
Okay. Okay.
But however, they've been competing on that level.
Yes. Yes.
So they're competing on that level. And with that being said, I think they may think, at least feeling like, hey, this is not as hard as it seems. But again, that theory could be out the window, as you said, because if Minnesota wins, we're at 2-2.
Yeah. And I spoke of this earlier. SGA wins the MVP. Here are the four men that are born outside the United States who have won the MVP. Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Joker, Djokovic, Joel Embiid, and now SGA. And so we had my guy DeWitt, Dr. DeWitt, come on our show and talk about how AAU is really kind of ruining the young people's fundamentals in basketball. You kind of see it translate not only in college, but it's translating in the NBA. You can clearly see it in the NBA where they're not running plays anymore. They're relying on superstar players to kind of run the ball through to try to score, and they're not playing defense. And these international players seem to have a well-rounded game. One of the things they said about SGA is that he gets to the foul line a lot. That's all superstars, ladies and gentlemen. Michael Jordan, the Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, they get to the foul line. LeBron gets to the foul line a lot. So, but this guy has a mid-range game. He has a game going to the basket. And every now and then when he has an open shot, he's shooting the three. He has an all-around game. And if you look at all of these players, they have all-around games. They can play inside and out. And this is why they're getting the MVP trophies. Your thoughts?
But some people would say, off of what you just presented, that European players now are better than the American players. Is that what we're saying or no?
I'm not saying they are better, but they have sure caught up from the Dream Team. When in 1992 team went over there and just showed that they were superior in basketball, I think the Europeans took it personal. And people outside the United States took it personal, like in the words of Michael Jordan, and said, you know what? We're going to show you in the next few years that we can ball too. And I knew it was going to happen. I knew they were going to catch up. I knew that the United States weren't going to be as dominant as they once were in international play. But now you're seeing they're coming into an American league and they're dominating.
Yeah, I'll say this. I think I will agree that I think that there's a certain group of elite or the elite player, European players or international players, let's say that are improving. And I think that speaks to your point of the last 7 MVPs. I give you that. I'm a little hesitant to say that overall or the majority of they may be getting better, but I still think the majority of American players are better because of the fact that while you saw when you said when you mentioned about the Joker, you mentioned about SGA, you mentioned about Embiid, and you mentioned about Giannis. They've been showing leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree. I think they're getting better and they deserve MVP all day long. But I also think in general, though, it's almost as if they were trying to say, well, international teams are players are better. No, I don't believe that yet. I think that some of our American players are spoiled. They half-ass play because they're talented and they don't feel like they have to do too much, especially certain ones on certain levels, which is why you see there's a disparity in what some superstars achieve and others just kind of, yeah, I'm good, but I can't get past this. I mean, just think about, okay, is he Canadian? Is he American? And who's Donovan Mitchell?
Donovan Mitchell is from the United States, I believe.
Okay, yeah. But somebody like a Donovan Mitchell, who for the most part of his career has been outstanding and amazing. But when it comes to the playoffs and postseason, his teams have struggled. So I think I don't know what it is, but I think that that's an issue. I don't know if saying he's not a guy that doesn't play hard because he does give you all that he has, but something makes you say that from the leadership standpoint. But I would say that I'm still on the fence because for all of those, and the stats speak what you just said.
Mhm.
But then I also point to a Joel Embiid. He won the MVP, but he's still as great as he is, some lacking from a leadership role. We
Yeah.
saw that when he played for the Olympic team. He almost begged to be on the American Olympic team. And then when he started to come in to play, he thought the way that he played was going to be acceptable. The way he plays with Philadelphia is going to be accepted on the Olympic team. And it's like, no, we don't play that way here. We don't need you to try to be dominant. In fact, it doesn't work
Right.
because these players are better. It's a higher level of competition. So you need to get on board and learn how to play. I think that goes for some American players too. I'll say this: the one thing I'm really interested in and to see how it plays out. I want to see was it 2028 Olympics?
Yeah, I saw like a picture of who they're trying to put
Yeah,
on that team. That's going to be interesting.
I want to see that because now no more LeBron, no more Steph
Yeah.
Curry,
Yeah.
other guys that have been carrying you, right? Don't know if Durant's going to play, right? If
He
Durant
shouldn't.
don't play, I think they're in trouble.
Yeah, he
And I'm
shouldn't.
saying it.
Yeah.
He may not play, but if I'm the coach, Durant's on my team because I need a driver. Durant is older, but when he get in those certain situations, he can turn that switch. And we only talk about a few games. So it's not like it's a 82 game schedule, but Durant can still be somewhat of the person that he's been special to be. So I am interested to see what happens with this next USA Olympic team and also what the other potential squads, the candidates, right? Luka Doncic's squad, so many others, right? That are up, seem to be up and coming. I now want to see in this brand new uh, form of a team, the United States, how will they compete, and will somebody else, another group, step up and challenge them and also eliminate them? Because now that's what makes for great competition. And now, as I say, we will find out what's real.
All right, let's jump to football, both pro and college. Let's talk about Brock Purdy. He got paid. You brought up an interesting topic and question about the value of the NFL quarterback. And I made mention that I put a post on our Facebook page and other social media pages is that there are like 7 to 8 to 10 quarterbacks who make more money than Jalen Hurts, but they don't have the ring. And one of them is Prescott. You have a number of them that are making a lot of money, but they're not delivering the goods. And one of the things I also mentioned is that Pittsburgh Steelers don't have a clue. They're waiting for Aaron Rodgers and forgetting that what Aaron Rodgers did with the Jets. He got everything he wanted with the Jets and couldn't bring home anything, couldn't win any games, couldn't even make it to the playoffs. So people will say, "Oh, he was hurt, he's coming off an injury, whatever." But you see that train wreck, and then you're desperately trying to get that train wreck to happen, and it's going to be the end of Tomlin's career. I feel if they get him and he just duds out like he's been doing the last 2 years, it's over. It's over. Your thoughts about Brock Purdy and the value of the NFL quarterback?
Yeah. Ooh, it's a tough one because Brock Purdy, your heart pours out for him. This is a guy who is Mr. Irrelevant. For those that know NFL football, it is the absolute last pick of the draft. It's like we're doing this from a ceremonial type standpoint. It's as if we're gonna just throw you a bone and we feel sorry for you and
Like you're getting
oh
picked and picked up. Like, come on and
yeah.
play
We
on our
we
team.
look, we need 12 people on our roster. We got all 11, right? We got one more spot. It's like the last player, and you like, well, we just had to fill a spot, so we threw him one there. So he evolved Purdy, that is, from that to due to circumstances or whatever, injuries, whatever it may be, he got an opportunity and he shined enough to become the starting quarterback for that team. There's still the jury is out on him in regards to how far he can take that team, whether or not he's a championship quarterback. That remains to be seen. But in the spot that Purdy's in right now, I don't know how San Francisco could not afford to give him the money.
Yeah.
Because what are your other options? At this point. So, granted, you hope that he improves, gets better, but the way as you mentioned the league is now, if you try to bring somebody in brand new, you made a lot of changes, and you just have to hope that he gets better from that standpoint. But I think he's worthy of the money and deserves it. In regards to the way that it is with the rest of the league now, I think that the expectations have been lowered on the top quarterbacks. There was a time you signed a guy, you expect him to at least get you to a couple rounds.
Yeah, championship, conference
Yeah,
championship.
or NFC, AFC championship, or whatever, or close. But as you said before, there are a lot of people that have not done that. You mentioned about Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins at one point threw more interceptions than he did touchdowns. Depending on the year. A guy like that, my big pet peeve with Dak Prescott is you're amazing during the regular season. What are we getting from you in the postseason? And it went on from that standpoint. So I think there are a number of examples like that where guys are getting money, but the teams are not receiving return on investment because of that standpoint. So in today's football, for me, that's more than acceptable. And the fans are accepting it. The owners are accepting it. There's always an excuse. And maybe that's the way football is now. But of course, we go one of those, here goes the old fogies. Back in the day, we expected quarterbacks to at some point make a play to lead their teams, right? I mean, you think about Terry Bradshaw. Terry Bradshaw was nothing special about him when he played with the old Steelers. But every once in a while, he knew who his talent was that he was playing with, and he did something to put his players in position to make plays in the postseason. And a lot of these players, these quarterbacks, they're receiving this big time money. They're not doing it. They're not getting it done. And then we're just looking at them like it's somebody else's fault. At some point, you got to be a leader. And that's what I think is missing from a lot of today's quarterbacks.
I wanted to write this down because I thought about this. Do you think that teams kind of use this when the quarterback they pay a lot of money to? They use this as leverage to reconstruct contracts to get other players because they know only one player is going to win the Super Bowl. And I think these contracts are laced with incentives. If you do this, you do this, you do this. Some of them are guaranteed. The money's guaranteed up front, but they can go back to the negotiation table and say, "Listen, you didn't meet expectations, and here's what we need to improve the team. You're saying we need to do this. Everybody knows we need extra help. Why don't we reconstruct your contract? Because you're making a lot of money because we need that money to bring in these other players so we can give you the ingredients to go out there and be a Super Bowl winning quarterback."
Yeah, I don't know if that's the initial the thought. I don't think that's just me. I think they give these guys this money because they go, hey, he's going to lead us, right? We're gonna invest in him. I just happen to think that when you don't provide the results, then they are forced to come back at you.
Yeah.
You look at it. You remember the times where Tom Brady was making a lot of money, and they were winning though. They were winning. And
Yeah.
Tom Brady, they might have a bad year or they needed something. Tom Brady was like, "Oh yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah.
I defer that money." But I think initially they're giving these guys this money because they think they're going to win. You can't. I mean, tell me this. Explain this to me. It's going to be hard for me to accept that when the Atlanta Falcons signed Kirk Cousins, they did not believe Kirk Cousins was going to raise that team, was going to raise them to a level that he had done with Minnesota, right? Raised them to a level where he's shown that he was all pro candidate, which they thought they were just a little bit further away from raising this team up and hitting that next level. And unfortunately, it didn't happen. So I don't think initially they came in and go, well, we'll see. I think they like, hey, this is our quarterback. He's all pro. He's a veteran. he's going to lead us. He's going to be the missing link, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, because I remember talking to Rodney Harrison years ago about this when he was still playing and Tom Brady was quarterback of the New England Patriots. How Tom Brady and he was praising Tom Brady for it, and it almost like it boosted the morale of the team. Like this guy is a company man. This guy really cares about this football team. He just not just counting his coin. He wants to get to the Super Bowl, so he'll take a pay cut to get a Junior Seau in or somebody in, a dog in to boost them over the top. So I kind of look at it as it could be like a morale booster. It could be something that the team was like, hey, if you do this, this shows that you are the true leader, that you don't mind missing a few coins as long as we go to where we want to go. And so I remember having that conversation with him. I forgot about it over the years, but how he was really high on Tom Brady. It was like he'd go kill for him at that particular point because this guy was really investing in the team.
No, I think that's 100% true. I agree with that. I think that makes a lot of sense that, you would sacrifice that money, but if people really know how the contracts go anyway, when that money is deferred like that too, it's basically they're just going to get their money on the back end,
Yeah,
right? So it's not going against the cap for the upcoming season. So that makes a lot of sense
yeah,
because in they still owe you and you might have negotiated down the line, but if you can help your team by deferring some money so they can use it to bring other people in. It makes a lot of sense. And why wouldn't you do that? That's how you win.
yeah.
That's building chemistry. That's understanding, hey, I'm making the sacrifice so we can be better. And that's the bottom line.
All right, let's go to college football. You brought up a story that they're changing the playoff system, which I feel is too soon right now because I'll let you guys just go on with the story right now. Let you talk first, man.
Yeah, so as we know, the change from the 2024 season college football playoffs, one of the things they really focused on was uh, conference championships, right? Conference champion. So if you were a conference champion, even though you played maybe in a league that may not have been had the most flash, right? Then you got rewarded for that. So if you went 12 and 0, then when they came out with the seedings in the first four seeds for first round buys, then those teams received a lot of play. So when you look at it from last year, this past year, number one was Oregon, right? Number two, Georgia. Number three seed was Boise State. And number four was Arizona State. So when you think about it from that standpoint, these four teams receive buys. So interesting, and some people were like, we don't know about this. So now they received some pushback from other conferences and teams that they deserved to be there. And so now they're going to move to a system where, based on the final rankings of the college football rankings, that's how they're going to seed the teams. As we said before, out of those four teams, the number one seed, which was Oregon, the number two seed, which was Georgia, the number three seed was Boise State, and the number four seed, Arizona State, all lost in the first round. So some will tell you, particularly, and they won't say it, but I'm gonna say it directly, so y'all can quit acting as if you got amnesia. You have not heard this. I'm gonna say it directly. Boise State and Arizona State, people didn't think they belonged to be that highly seated, and now those folks that are critics, I say, see, I told you they deserve to be up there. They can get in the playoffs, but there's no way in hell you deserve to be in the top four. And by every one of those seeds losing the way that they did in the first round, it's opened the door like, I told you, you know what we could have done, blah, blah, blah. So now with that being said, I know you got something to really talk about this because you had a different kind of opinion. With that being said, they made a, what do we call, a knee-jerk reaction, and they changed it where it's straight seated.
Yeah, I don't agree with the change this soon. I think you ride it out for 2 or 3 years, and let's see it. You can't base it on 1 year that all the seeds go down. I mean that's sometimes that just happens. It rarely happens, but that knee jerk reaction you talk about. I think they're trying to make the ranking systems relevant because usually when we are covering the season, the ranking systems don't matter. It just doesn't matter at all. And no matter what team is ranked in the top 10, they may not see any time in the playoffs or not be selected in the playoffs. And usually it's they have the rankings and then they have the college playoff rankings. And so nobody really pays attention to the college rankings at that particular time, the AP, coaches, poll, all that stuff. It's like that goes out the window. So I think they're really trying to make that relevant again. But I can't see, I say ride it out for 2 or 3 years to see whether or not that happens again. Now, if it happens for 2 or 3 years in a row where the number one team's getting knocked out, then I'm like, okay, maybe you have a point. But this is just one season that they tried this. Let's try it again. The other thing I was thinking is this is going to knock a lot of the smaller teams out that may have deserved to be in the playoffs. And you're telling different conferences, it doesn't matter what you do, you're not getting in the playoffs, which I think is unfair because you're stacking the SEC, you're stacking the Big Ten, the Pac-12. I don't know, they're not as strong anymore. You got the Big 12. You know, you're stacking all these big conferences up, and so so you're leaving out the little guys that could beat the bigger guys. So it's almost like they're not satisfied with what they did because we were satisfied, like, okay, they got a playoff system. Everybody who should be in is in. Cool. That's fine. You're going to have some blowouts in the playoffs. You're going to have the matchups. People don't match up. But why change it after 1 year? Because you want to make more money. You want the advertisers, to show all the ads so people stay at the games and watch the advertisement and have the subliminal conscious like, oh, I think I want to buy some pistachios or whatever. But just don't change it for a couple of years and let it ride out to see whether or not your system works. You tinkering around with it, it just seems like you just go, oh well, the little guys didn't win. Poo-hoo on them, push them to the side. Let's bring the back 9 SEC teams in, and then and that doesn't work for me. I don't want to see them, they battled all season. I don't want to see them battle during the college playoffs. Let some other teams get in. It's a big country. You got about over 350 teams out there. Let some other teams get a chance if they have good records and they played a halfway decent schedule to get there. Let them do it.
Wow, that's hilarious. But it's real.
I think fair is fair, man. Come on, give these kids a chance.
That's cool.
There's some Disney moments. Come on.
Hey, we appreciate them kids on those smaller schools. End of the day, college football about that dollar and the views and those ratings and all of that stuff. So with that being said, let's keep it 100 though. When the other schools, the SEC schools start making noise and Big Ten schools, let's keep this 100 once again. The one team I'm sure was screaming bloody murder, as they said, my dad used to say, is Oregon. Oregon said, how the hell we the number one seed? And after our first bye, we play Ohio State, the team just really is waiting to destroy us after what happened. And they say we cheated on that last. Oh, man, they jumping at the bit and they lost to Michigan. They are hungry. And we got to play Ohio State.
Yeah.
But now Oregon is like, now we good. We'll have to see them to the end. That type of situation. The other thing too, okay, Alabama thought they should have got in. Alabama sitting there going,
they did not deserve to be in.
I hear you, but Alabama like, look, that's some bull. And then not only this is not we didn't make it in. You made Boise State and Arizona State 3 and 4 in the rankings. Put us on the field with them right now. I'll show you what we can do. And that's what they're going to say.
And Notre Dame, probably, their nipples are hard at this because they're always going to be ranked in the top 10 no matter what they do.
Hey, and the boosters from these schools are like, man, you mean to tell me roll damn tide? Well, I mean, yeah. But I will say this, it's not fair, but it's showing you they already switched it real quick. Knee-jerk reaction, as we know. I will say this, and it's not fair, but it was like it was before. If you are a team from a smaller conference, from the Big 12 or whatever school you come from, Arizona State, Boise State, Fresno State, Y'all might have a run, whoever it may be, Brigham Young, whoever the hell it may be. I'm just
Oh,
saying. One thing you're gonna have to do now, and they showed you how it is. They gonna say what they say when you were young and somebody beat you down because you wasn't strong enough. They said you gotta get in the weight room.
yeah.
You gotta get stronger. These teams now, these schools that are maybe from a obscure conference, you don't have to get in the weight room, but you're gonna have to upgrade your schedule.
See, but
You got,
here's the point. They didn't give them time to do that. So they're switching it up within a year. Some of the schedules are already set. They didn't give them time to kind of boost up their schedule.
hey, you're right, but now it may not happen for you this year, but you got to knock them little cupcakes off, right? And you got to put somebody on the schedule if you want to win. I mean, if I'm Boise State, I'm like, yeah, I'll play whoever. I mean, you may not have to play all of Alabama, but you got a Wisconsin, you got other teams or whatever, or a couple of SEC teams, Texas A&M. If I think I'm good enough, you got to do it, man.
Yeah.
Otherwise, hey, they have again. We can always say certain things are not fair. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
But we also have to look at the reality of things. If you want to be included in that group and have an opportunity, you got to take some chances. And if you think your team is good as it may be, a la, what was it, TCU, right?
Yeah.
TCU won a lot of big games early in the season. They took some chances, and they showed you that they were capable. So you got to roll it out there, man. And or if you do make it, you're gonna be like the 11th, 10th, 11th, 12th seed, and you got to prove it then. But hey, this is how they rolling. It's not fair. They're not going back now because they got too much pushback from the bigger conferences. So
Yeah.
you got to get in where you fit in, learn how to play ball. So as you said, you should have waited 2 or 3 years. They already told you, nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
It just leaves the little guy out. You know, I like the underdog, so, and I like the little guy. So yeah,
Hey,
we're going to see. We're going to see because these poor little other conferences not that strong. They're just going to be left out, and they're going to have to just celebrate after their bowl wins, the Tostitos Bowl and the
hey, look,
Bowl and the whatever bowl they have, the pistachio avocado bowl and all that other
here you
stuff.
go. Look, hey, but remember this: 6 wins and you're in.
Yeah, I never like that. I never like that. You got to make that higher. At least 8 wins, you get into a bowl game. But I'll tell the people who set up these bowl games with these six win teams, we don't watch. We really don't watch the bowl games.
Hey,
We
six
don't watch
wins,
them.
6 wins will get
Yeah,
you a berth.
we don't watch them. They're not winning teams. We don't watch them.
Hey, 6 wins and you get a berth in the Motor City Bowl.
Yeah, yeah. We don't watch those bowls. They got to be big time teams, top 25 teams. Let's go to back to basketball and the WNBA. To me, the league is still losing money. They said they're setting records with viewership. I'm not really watching the WNBA, and to me, they're trying to create because I see some of the storylines. They're trying to create a Bird Magic situation with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. It's not working for me. I haven't been watching. I always feel like they are out of place seasonally in basketball. You have the NBA playoffs, you have baseball, you have NHL hockey, you have all these events happening. You have college softball, you have college baseball, you have lacrosse, you have all these sports happening at the same time. It seems like the WNBA, of course, I guess the Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever had 2.7 million viewership. How long can that last this particular time? And how long does the WNBA try to play up this kind of Magic and Bird situation with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese until people say, you know what, we see what you're trying to do. It's not working for us. And, enough of this.
No, I see what you're saying. In regards to like the Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese thing, I think it's becoming worse now because Angel Reese is unfortunately not being able to play the way she wants to and produce all the time. But Caitlin Clark is. But I mean, but it's the narrative that they're trying to push, and it's becoming like it's become more we against us against them. And
Mm-hmm.
let's be real, when we were coming up, that Boston, LA became almost a black and white thing, but people try to make it that way.
Yeah.
Because I loved Larry Bird when he was at Indiana State. That was probably one of the few people. But then when he went to Boston, I had to let him go. I ain't
Yeah.
gonna lie. I had to go with Magic in LA, but that's the narrative. But I think that here in this situation, as we said before, there are so many other women that come before Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese that had the league moving forward. And even last year, from the standpoint, granted the ratings went up for them, but my problem is, and it's not about black and white for me on this. What about the other, even players in general who were white as well? New York Liberty with Breonna Stewart, right? You look at Minnesota, you look at the Las Vegas Aces, and Seattle Storm. These teams clearly were better than Indiana.
Mm.
And these players, no matter their color, didn't get the love because it's all about Caitlin Clark and it was also about her nemesis, Angel Reese. And I think you did a disservice to the other women because they knew that Caitlin Clark was popular and a lot of fans who were not fans or they didn't show up in the ratings ran to see this new phenom and all of the hype built around her based on what she did in college. So now they're continuing to add on to that. The hype is even greater now because she's gotten better. She's proven that they're better. Indiana's team is getting better. They've added some pieces, changed their coach. So the WNBA is feeding into it. But I still say that's great. But now, until they win the title or get close, you're doing a disservice to these other teams. And I think some of these other teams are like, no, you're not just coming in here and thinking you're gonna win.
Yeah.
We're gonna whoop your butt every time. And they're seeing that. So I don't know. Maybe they think if they do it long enough, it'll get better. And the last point for me on this particular area is the factor that you mentioned about the season and when they play. I don't think there's another
Probably
place.
not.
Yeah, because spring, we said before, we said this over and over, the WNBA would not be, I mean, as you say, they're losing 40 to $50 million a year. What do you think they're going to be losing if you put them over in the fall with college football, women's basketball, winter too? You think they're struggling now
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
with all the competition on the other side? So they are purposely been placed in this time of year so it can at least exist. You put them over there, you just think about it. Are you going to watch when in the heat of women's college basketball, when it's really on the line and teams are playing real well right before March Madness or whatever, or even in the fall? What game are you going to watch if it's not Caitlin Clark? You going to watch that game in WNBA or you going to watch women's college basketball?
Remember when we play high school, there would be the JV game first, and then you have the varsity game. I don't know. Maybe they go to that format with the NBA and the WNBA. It's going to have fans there for a longer period of time, but don't raise the ticket prices. Have those two teams play the WNBA first, then the NBA. I don't know if they'll combine that, but it's just an idea. I don't know if it'll even work, but just to test it out a few times. So you have the new team out in San Francisco. Have them play before the Golden State Warriors if they want to change the season, whatever. But I just don't see it working. I really don't see it working, and it's kind of sad, but it's the reality of it that the competition, people like to see males in competition rather than females in competition. It's just the fact.
Well, let me throw this at you. I remember these old sayings from when we was coming up. When you mentioned about having both those leagues playing like double headers where one will follow the other. You know, the NBA or in NBA will never say this, but it's being spoken for y'all to not listening. I know y'all make me the bad guy, so I'm gonna say what you're thinking. The NBA is like, we love you. We don't love you that damn much.
That's true. That's true.
You think you belong up on this level with us?
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
you like the little sister. We love y'all. Now you know
Yeah. We'll
stay.
come to your games and wear your
Yeah, we
hoodie.
promote you. We'll do t-shirt giveaways. We'll do commercials. You can hang out. You can come to an all-star game. But do you think you're on this level? Because at the end of the day, it comes down to the products that are producing that make money, we pour back into. We had to ask the question, what kind of money are you producing? We know you got Caitlin Clark, but you still we're losing $40 million on you. So you think you're gonna mess up what's already established with the NBA? And let's throw the gender out. I know that we it's hard to do that, but let's just throw the gender out. One sport is making money and it's at its height, whatever, when it's on fire, another one's not. So we're gonna mix that up, try to make you feel better. You better find a way to raise up where you at. Because look, you're not messing up our stuff. Yeah. And I know they want it to be equal, but and this has I'm throwing the gender out. It is simply about dollars and cents and economics.
All right. Let's slide this in real quick. If I had a nickel for every time I said that. You mentioned about we mentioned about the playoffs in college and pros, and which would you watch, or if you had to rank them, where would you watch them? Do you want to combine that, or do you want to set them apart on which ones you would watch? Because I have a list of what I would watch, and like my top 5 I would watch, and I combine them, but I can split them. So go with your question so people will understand what we're talking about.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, but I mean, the question was, we were talking about this before we did this off here. The question I had was, when it comes to sports, and this is for sports fans, so it don't matter what you like or whatever, everybody might have different answers. But the question is, when it comes to sports, what sports, college and professional, you can separate them if you want to, or you can throw them all together. I think we should throw them all together.
Okay.
And just see how it works. Because separate them make your head hurt trying to figure stuff out. Let's throw them all together. So the question is, when you watch sports, when it comes to the postseason, right, playoffs and whatnot, tournaments, whatever, what are the top sports that you go, oh man, I cannot wait for this tournament to start. I cannot wait for the playoffs to start. I must see this. This is must see TV at some point for you. That's what I want to know. And you can rank them, or you can say, here's my 5, and however you want to rank them, or you can just say what you like and why. But that's what I'm looking for. Those sports, when you watch them, you go, regular season's okay, but damn, when them playoffs start, that tournament start, man, I'm gonna be glued in because of what has happened already in the regular season.
All right, I can go first, and I've been saying this for years. March Madness does it for me, bro. March Madness, I mean, that's number 1 for me. And the college football playoffs and the championship, that does it. Then comes the Super Bowl. When I was a younger kid, it might have been the Super Bowl, then the rest of it. But it has to be March Madness, the college football playoffs and championship, then the Super Bowl, and a close right under that third in the Super Bowl is the World Series. And I don't care who's playing. I gotta watch the World Series. I gotta watch the playoffs. That's when I really lock in to watching baseball. And then the sport for me, I'll just put 5, but this counts as 1. Boxing and UFC. There's a great championship fight as far as boxing and UFC. I gotta be in front of that television. I gotta be on the phone with you or Ed or somebody. We gotta be texting, and if we're not together, I gotta watch it. I gotta be analyzing every round. And I got to get ready for the sports show and talk about what I saw. And especially, I think the last big championship fight was Usyk and Fury. We were going at it for those 2 fights on the show. Check our shows back then, because I think you were favoring Fury. I was favoring Usyk. And we were explaining why. But we were so excited for that fight because that was a bona fide heavyweight championship fight.
No, I think, I mean, you almost covered almost everything from that standpoint. If I had to rank them, wow. I would have to say, this is crazy. I love March Madness. I do. I mean, I love March Madness. But I ain't gonna lie to you, particularly with this last year, and maybe because what was on the stakes, that's college football, man.
You know, Ohio State, yeah.
Yeah, I could not wait. I was like, everybody saying they lost to Michigan. And what was that stake? I was like, the Ohio State, because I'm gonna say we, I was an alumnus.
You
I
said
went
we.
to, yeah, D, I went to D as well. I was like, I could not wait for them to show the world what I thought was going to happen. I thought they were going to regroup and they were going to come on strong, and they did that. So that made it, and if that's the way I felt, I can only imagine how other college football fans would feel the same way. So I would say at least this year college football was it. March Madness too. March Madness, I would say maybe number two for me, but I think March Madness depends on how the season went, right? Because I had a reason to invest the interest. I really liked the way that Houston played. I did. I liked the way they got after it. They didn't have any superstars really. They had a couple guys that came in or whatever. But there are certain teams that you just go, and so depending on the year for me with March Madness. But I think I would have to say college football. And I think it's just been that way for a while because you want to see it. So college football, March Madness. Yeah, I'll go with the Super Bowl too. But Super Bowl, like, it depends on the teams. Like this
Yeah,
year,
it does.
it was Philadelphia, and I really wasn't feeling it. Maybe because I don't like Philadelphia, or I have my reasons. Anyway, I mean,
He didn't
I'm
mean
glad.
that, folks. He didn't mean that for Philly.
And, oh, it's not like I don't like them. I just didn't care to see them there. And maybe I'm like like the people used to feel about the old Cowboys. They always are there. They can we see somebody else, right? Maybe that's what I was saying. But it depends on the matchup. I'm gonna throw this in there, and I thought it would be different. My number four selection would be boxing, man. I like the NBA. I love basketball. I love the NBA.
I didn't even put the NBA on my list.
I have to say I do like the NBA. I like really good matchups. Like this year has been phenomenal because you just saw the younger groups coming on, you saw the older groups, the old and new coming together, battling out, and I think it was really good to see some different teams playing. But I have to say boxing because for everybody that says boxing is dead, man, you put Shakur Stevenson versus Tank Davis right now,
We be
or even Canelo Crawford.
yeah.
Stuff we want to see, and people that are connecting. And I'm gonna go even lower for those that may not know. I'm gonna talk about Nakatani versus the Monster, bruh. I'm glued. I love boxing. I always have. It's just something about the energy and really good guys that had to sacrifice what they do to get into the ring. So boxing is going to be fourth. NBA is probably five, right? I mean, I used to love baseball, but I love basketball. I think because, watching the play, I play basketball. I'm always going to be drawn to that. And when I say March Madness, let me correct this and say this too. March Madness now is not just about men, it's women too.
Women's, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because women's college basketball, I mean, we had the Caitlin Clark stuff from last year, but even prior to that, there have been some hellified matchups that these women have really improved their games and they're getting more exposure. I love watching the matchups and seeing who's going to go farther and whatever, especially with the personalities of the coaches and stuff that we had. So let me make sure that I add that into the March Madness. What I mean, March Madness for men and women. World Series in Major League Baseball, maybe six, depending on the matchup. It's hard to watch baseball. Maybe I'm feeling that way because I'm just growing up. I saw more American players, African American players. It has nothing to do with the quality of the game. It just maybe that does not help my interest. But I'm gonna say another sport that really catches my attention a little bit, actually a lot at times, because I like the intensity of it. Of course, I can just say horse racing because at some point the Triple Crown, and I just love horses, I always have. But another sport that does catch my attention during the postseason is hockey, bro.
Yeah, with lots of beer with hockey.
NHL, the fact that if you watch hockey and the way that they do the checks,
Yeah,
how hard they come at one another, and it's getting a little different now, going back to the old way where people are fighting and people getting flipped up in the air and
yeah.
going into the stands. It's really becoming more violent and physical. And maybe that's what drives me. But they come in and you watch the game, and you go, Oh my God, did you see that chip?
Well, I have
And guys,
another one that's gonna mess up your list that you
but hey,
definitely.
guys getting their teeth knocked out, bruh, and they smiling after the postseason.
I'm gonna slide one in that you failed to miss, but I know you love this sport. I gotta go with the world. It happens every 4 years, but the World Cup, the World Cup with Brazil. I gotta go with them. Pele, yeah, I gotta go with them. But you got a favorite team, real quick. What's your favorite team?
Okay, look, first of all, okay, let's tell a reason why I like the World Cup. Okay, you like World Cup because you like these Brazil teams and all these Spain and all these great teams and Pele and all that. You like it for that reason.
Yeah,
Why do I like Why do I like World Cup soccer?
because of the celebration, whether you win or lose, with Cameroon.
Cameroon, anything African, I don't give a damn. I'm sorry, I'm just being real tough. The African teams, they're not going to the next round. They probably what's that one, the knockout round, whatever they call it, the first
Yeah,
round,
yeah, yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah,
You don't get to advance. I
yeah.
don't care. When you get to the World Cup, these African teams, Cameroon, Nigeria, I mean, I can go on and on and on because I even know the colors in my head. When the chance, here's the thing. Next time we got World Cup coming up, men's World Cup. Watch one of these African teams in the knockout round, whatever. And if they score,
Oh,
there is no greater celebration in sports. They have these, it's not even raining. They got these umbrellas and
yeah, 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 yeah.
oh man, dude, I would pay cash money. I told you, I think the World Cup's coming to America soon or whatever. I don't know when. But when it comes to America and I've still got breath in my body, I'm still healthy or whatever, and I got a couple of dollars, I'm gonna talk to you and we need to go see this African. I don't even care about the big
Wear
one.
wear the colors and just fit it
Yes,
right into the crowd. Yeah,
I just want to feel because if they score, oh my God,
yeah,
man,
yeah,
that
yeah.
is like so exciting because it has nothing to do with winning. The chances of them even advancing are
Competing
slim.
and qualifying. Yeah, it's just
Yeah, but so when they get there, they're like happy, like and don't let them win.
yeah.
They're not gonna win it. They're not gonna advance. But the fact is that to score a goal in World Cup, bro, it's like the whole nation goes nuts. Everybody,
Right. And
like, yeah,
I gotta throw in rugby too because I like the New Zealand All Blacks when they're playing. That's must see TV for me, but it doesn't rank with like the sports that happen every year.
yeah,
You have the sevens, the seven nations that compete together, and New Zealand is usually one of them. I love to go to the taverns here to see them, and I have my All Blacks gear and all that other stuff. So yeah, I love rugby, especially in the championships. Yeah, just along with the World Cup. Yeah, and I have my Brazilian stuff too. So I just love, and Pele made me fall in love with Brazil, and I haven't turned back yet.
So I got a question. Is any of the World Cup stuff, the jerseys you wearing, are they any of them fishnets?
No, man, there's no fishnets. I don't think I had a fishnet since that middle school scenario, man. And I got a feeling I'm gonna have to get some to make some appearances because people
Hey,
want to
did
see
Pele
me,
wear fishnet?
huh?
Did Pele wear fishnet?
I don't think so. I'll look for a picture. If he wore a fishnet, I'm gonna wear a fishnet. Mama named him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay. Let's do our last second shot together. And I want you to give advice to Travis Hunter. He just got married. Congratulations, little brother. But I'm gonna give you this advice. I hope you put everything in your mama's name. That's all advice I'm giving you at this particular time. Put everything in your mama's name. Learn from your predecessors who did the same thing and they didn't get cooked in the courtroom. Put everything in your mama's name. Any advice for my man Travis Hunter?
Well, bro, all I can say, first of all, you have to go off the premise of the deed is now done. Okay, you did it. So you married. So now, whatever, we wish you the best and we hope for the best in your journey. The one thing I would say is that no matter what people on the outside have to say, their perception does not have to be your reality. I hope for him that for both of them that they really are in love and really go off of the dedication and loyalty that they have professed and the love for one another, despite the outside forces. They really fought hard to try to prove to people that they really love one another. So I hope that they do that. I really hope so because end of the day, no matter what anybody says, how this works and how successful your marriage uh, is going to be on you. And I remember I was told this a long time ago by somebody that it's easy to talk about somebody's relationship when you're outside looking in. But then again, the easiest thing is to wish them the best and hope things work out for them. And the other part that comes off with this that I was told a long time ago, you can say what you want to about a man's wife and why she does not maybe fit your standards or work for you. But then on the flip side, it says, I don't have to go home with her. I ain't gotta lay down with her. So that if that's what you like and that's what you like it, I love it.
Yeah.
So that's where you have to leave it there. And if ever something doesn't go right, those that are the naysayers and those that were talking a bunch of stuff can always go, glad that wasn't me. So you got it out. You already got it out. But at least just realize that people make decisions and choices for whatever they really reason. So I hope for them it works. Now I might have my opinion about what you should have done beforehand, but we passed that now because you are that's your wife now. So now I think now it's important for him to and the two of them work on becoming a solid duo that loves one another and works together as companions to work together. And again, favorite phrase of 2024, damn it, I need a teammate, not an opponent. Remember that.
That's our show. We'll be back next week. Oh, Cameroon, Morocco, Egypt.
We'll report.